People often say that the United States and China will eventually go to war. I don't really believe that. Here's why. The United States was founded and led mainly by Anglo-Saxons, including people of Irish and German descent. The Anglo-Saxons originally lived in Northern Europe, were later defeated, moved to Central Europe, and then fled to the British Isles. This group was never an agrarian people. They had no emotional attachment to land. Their guiding principle was simple: fight if you can win, and run if you can't. Whether in World War I or World War II, the US was never the one charging forward. It always waited to see which way the wind was blowing, stepped in at the end to clean up the mess, and then painted itself as if it had been leading the decisive battles all along. This is a nation highly skilled at weighing power. It bullies the weak to assert dominance, and it keeps its distance from the strong. As China grows stronger, the US understands this very clearly. On the one hand, it will try to contain China's rise. On the other hand, when it realizes it truly cannot defeat China, it will accept reality. Americans will adjust psychologically. If we can't stay no Dotun, being no two is fine. If we can't lead the world, leading the Americas is good enough. The United States believes in power, not in reckless gambles. It will never challenge a stronger rival when its own strength is insufficient. Japan, however, is different. Japan has a strong cultural inclination toward taking risks even when its strength appears inferior. It is willing to act impulsively, to gamble, and even to push itself into a dead end. Geography plays a big part in this. For centuries, the Chinese cultural sphere dominated East Asia. Vietnam and Korea were Chinese tributaries, but Japan was not. Yet Japanese pirates repeatedly harassed China's coast. Because of geography, China found it difficult to cross the sea and occupy Japan, while Japanese raiders could launch sudden attacks and plunder China's coastal regions. In modern times, Japan's opportunistic strikes were even more successful. During the Ming Dynasty, it invaded Korea. Later, it defeated Russia in northeast China and gained major benefits. In the First Sino-Japanese War, Japan's ships were not necessarily superior to those of the Beiyang fleet. But through a surprise attack, Japan destroyed the fleet and reaped enormous gains. Later, Japan occupied Manchuria, launched a full-scale invasion of China, and despite a huge power gap attacked Pearl Harbor and severely damaged the US Navy. One could say that suicidal assaults, military gambles, and winning as the weaker side were defining features of Japan's modern rise. Even though these gambles ultimately ended in failure and the Japanese people paid a tremendous price, the national character remained, willing to gamble, unafraid of death, ignoring long-term consequences, and focusing only on immediate gains. Americans see power clearly and do not dare to start a real war. The Japanese, however, do not care about the power gap. They believe in striking first. They believe in the effectiveness of a sudden attack. When the economy faltered, Japan sent young women to Southeast Asia for prostitution without any sense of shame. When the war turned hopeless, they sent humanities students on kamikaze missions knowing they would die, yet not hesitating. To win, they would exhaust every means without guilt or disgrace. A nation like this is dangerous. Today, the power gap between China and Japan has grown enormous. In military strength, social organization, resources, population, and industrial capacity, Japan cannot compare with China. It has no chance of winning a war. An American, seeing this trend, would apply pressure symbolically but never gamble on a war. Japan is different. Its national character ensures that a segment of its people are always eager to gamble, without limits. The February 26th incident in 1936 is a classic example. Young officers dared to assassinate central government figures, paving the way for militarism. Today, as Japan seeks to become a so-called normal country, there will again be people willing to gamble, perhaps even believing that by launching a surprise attack to cripple China, Japan could achieve national revival. This possibility cannot be dismissed. Preventing a Japanese surprise attack and preventing Japanese military adventurism, rather than indulging in fantasies of Sino-Japanese friendship, is what China must confront. The blood-soaked hatred between China and Japan has never been resolved. Talking lightly about mutual friendship is a joke. In today's world, the only country that dares to launch a sudden attack on China is Japan. Its strength is no longer what it used to be, but its audacity remains.